Experience the joy of watching your friends and family's faces light up when you feed them wild game you harvested and made into delicious sausages, or meat you barbecue and grill with the finest seasonings available. Visit our friends at waltons.com to find everything you need to turn wild game into tasty meat snacks, or spice up your barbecue with new flavors and seasonings. With over 500 seasonings to choose from, there's something that everyone will love. They even have step-by-step videos and how-to articles at Meatgistics to help you go from animal to edible. Use coupon Rangers15 at checkout to save 15% on your first order at waltons.com. Waltons, everything but the meat.
This is Matt Hicks with the Texas Rangers, and you're listening to the Ranger Report podcast.
The Ranger Report, yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go.
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Ranger Report podcast. We are delighted to be joined by a whole lot of people today as our first ever Rangers Roundtable. So we've got CJ Berryman.
Hey, I'm here.
We've got Alex Plinck.
CJB_RR on the twit thingy.
Good job, Alex Plinck.
What's going on, people?
Kane McCutchen.
Guys.
John Moore.
I'm here.
And Tyler Neilson.
Glad to be here, guys.
All right, glad to be doing this. So there's a lot been going on this season. Of course, the last two nights, guys, have been dreadful to watch. John put it best, I think Monday might have been the worst loss of the season, John. I mean, that was such a disappointing game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've had bad losses all season, but I mean, that one was just a kick to the crotch. I mean, that was a beatable team. They kept taking the lead. I mean, to give it just all around, it felt bad all the way to the end. So that was just such a winnable game. Errors never do anything. So it just was, and tonight they're kind of scuttling again tonight. They're already down 2-0.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And then last night, it wouldn't have been such a big deal to me if Ruge hadn't hit the home run to tie the game in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
That one, like his one good moment of the season had to be against the Rangers, didn't it?
Ask Tyler what happened last night when Ruge hit the home run.
Oh, I already knew it was coming. So we were watching the game together, and he did that stare down. Typical Ruge style. He's done it with Texas. It's just the player he is.
Yep.
So I was holding the baseball and I threw it. And Tyler goes, bro, don't do that anymore. I was like, okay, I'm sorry.
And then he did another time, Ben. He did 2 times after that.
That doesn't surprise me. CJ has a bit of an attitude problem sometimes.
I agree to that, Ben.
Let me ask you this, John. Is this worse than Sunday, June 5th, when they lost 6-5-10 to Seattle with a 3-run lead in the top of the ninth?
I mean,
man,
you know what? Probably not, but it felt like it last night or Monday night. It felt worse.
This was more fresh. It was more fresh.
Yes, there we go. It was horrible. I tell you, that was a bad one too. And I mean, look, I think the thing is the reason that you feel that way this year is because, Jeff and I talk about it a lot, and it's a better team. I mean, they just are a better team. They're not a playoff team, and that's just reality. But it's so when you got games that are winnable, you'd much rather the Orioles just come out and beat them, 9-0, something like that. It's just easier to swallow. It's just a bad night. Pitching wasn't working. You weren't getting any hits. But when you're doing something to a team like that, it just sucks is what it does, because Seattle is coming back. They've already passed them, past the Rangers in standings, and they're in second place. And all along, I thought Seattle was the team to watch in the West.
I would like to point
Go ahead.
I would like to point out that this Baltimore team is a lot better than last year. So I think that's what people aren't. That's what people are thinking in their heads. This is the Orioles of 2021, and they're actually doing well when you look at 15-19 against the AL East this year.
Yeah.
Which in that division,
the record against the East is good.
Yeah.
Well, and Tyler and I were talking about it just the other day. Like, we were disappointed in the Seattle Mariners, and now here they come.
Yep.
So,
well, the thing about it is, and I think, John, you bring up a good point too, but, being a lifelong Rangers fan, it's always a stretch right before the All-Star break. And it's games that you expect to win. It's the games we're going to lose. It happens every year. And I've talked to Ben about it on the last podcast, and I was like, yeah, okay, we'll take these. And the only teams you really got to worry about are like the Twins but we come into a situation like this, and it happens every year.
And I know they're in a frustrating place right now just because of those games. But like Alex said, they are better. But I wanted to ask you guys, starting off, first question I had is, first of all, 2021 was a dreadful season. This year has obviously been better. But how would you guys rate the first? I know it's not quite the halfway point yet, but how would you guys rate the first half? Were they better or worse than you guys expected? Alex, I'll start with you.
I would say better. It's hard to tell when you have new guys, a new coaching staff, somewhat of a new roster, and how they're going to perform, especially with a lockout. And then you have to iron everything out in spring training. So the slow start didn't really surprise me. But I do think, to you guys' point, you take against a team like Philadelphia, the Phillies are playing pretty good ball this year.
Yeah.
And you take 4 out of 4 against them, take 2 out of 3 from the Braves, although the Braves didn't catch fire until later. And they played teams hard. I mean, when you look at, I think I posted this, like 18 of their last 21 losses have been by less than 5 runs.
Mm-hmm.
So they're in every single game.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, John, how about you? Better or worse than you thought?
Actually, I think they are better. I mean, I kind of thought that they might be a team that could win 75 to 77 games, and they're on track to do something like that. But they've been a little more impressive than I thought they were. And I'll tell you where they've been more impressive than I really thought they would be is pitching, believe it or not. I mean, I know they have their duds, and they're still trying to find a fourth and fifth starter. And, but the bullpen is, although the bullpen's blown it the last couple of games, the bullpen hasn't been bad. John Kane has not been horrible. I mean, he's had a couple of bad outings.
He got sent down earlier today.
Yeah, they did. They brought Kobe Allard up, and a lot of that probably has to do with that he's not available and they need an arm. We'll see if they switch that back. Allard's somebody that, look, Allard is a guy that can come in and produce. I think they can't figure out a role for him. It's probably going to be the bullpen. I think he might be better if he's only having to see a team once through a lineup. Maybe a couple innings like that. But, they don't have a legit closer. That's just, we haven't seen a legit closer since Leclerc was healthy and closing.
You are not wrong, bro.
And so they just don't have I like Barlow. He's a great back end piece, but he's not a legit closer. And this team doesn't have a legit closer. They're not going to go out and trade for one. And John Daniel doesn't sign closers. They usually try to do it. So they try to find someone.
Now, someone that John knows has joined us. Jeff Wilson is now on with us. Jeff, how are you today?
Oh, Jeff, finally.
Well, I'm working, so I'm good.
I figured you were.
I had to give you some shit, Jeff.
Okay, good.
All right, our question was, John or Jeff, to rate the first half of the season. Were the Rangers better or worse than you expected them to be?
Better. I think the pitching's been better. The guys who needed to get better got better, and when I show up to the ballpark every night, I feel like the Rangers have a chance to win, and I didn't feel like that pretty much at all last year, especially after the trade deadline. So I say they've exceeded my expectation. I mean, we still got 10 more games to go, 9 more games to go.
Yeah.
Until the All Star break. Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, they can. Theoretically, they can get within, 20 wins or 20 wins, 18 wins of what they did last year. So
I got a question for you, Jeff. With Dane Dunning, I think he's been the best pitcher the Rangers have had to start the season, and he's not getting any run support whatsoever. So I'd like your expert opinion.
He hasn't been better than Martin Perez. I mean, Perez does it at home. He does it on the road. His ERA are 2.5.
All-star caliber.
He will be on the All-Star team. Doesn't give up home runs. Doesn't beat himself. Dunning's been better than his numbers show. I'll give you that. But no, give me Martin Perez 10 out of 10 times.
That's fair.
All right, Kane, better or worse than you expected?
I think their record is about what I expected, but overall, I really think they're doing better because to kind of build off of what you guys were saying is how many winnable games they've been in. Like their record really could be a lot better than maybe not a lot better, but it could definitely be a little better than it is right now. Like I can definitely think of some winnable games off the top of my head that they should have won. And I mean, I think their pitching is good. Like y'all said, I think the pitching has been a lot better than I expected. But overall, I would say, they're doing, considering where we were last year, they're doing a lot better than I thought they would be.
All right. And Tyler?
Oh, it's definitely better. I mean, you look at the slow start we had. I mean, we start off 2-9.
Yeah.
To begin the season, and we've played 500 ball basically throughout the season. And this team, like, CJ mentions and Ben, all of us have mentioned, we sit there, we're not expected to win this year. But we're competing in every single game, and everybody made a good point to all of it. This is not our year to win or contend, but give it a couple years and we'll be there.
I agree. All right, CJ, I'll start with you on this one. What Rangers player surprised you on the good side so far this year?
Oh, man, great question. I'm going to go with Martin Perez, man. I didn't expect him to be a Cy Young caliber. Expected him to come in and, do six innings, do a quality start every time out, but he's exceeded that. And he's a guy that every time, you see him, he's going to be the starter. I expect one run and maybe 8 strikeouts. Martin Perez is totally been my guy.
All right. Anyone else have someone besides Martin Perez as their best player the first half of the season?
I'll chip in. I would say Nathaniel Lowe.
He has been good.
Nice, Tyler. Nice, Tyler.
Yeah, I'll go with Nathaniel Lowe. I mean, in the offseason, we were talking about getting Olsen from the A's and all that stuff. Jonah Heim's another one.
Yeah.
Nobody expected him to do is everything.
Oh, yeah. Jonah Heim, man. Jonah Heim, for sure.
So that's what
I think too is not that this guy's been better than any of those other guys that y'all mentioned, but I'll give you someone that is doing a lot better than I thought he would be is Dennis Santana.
Yeah. He's another one.
There's a good one.
And Matt Moore is another one who is doing a lot better than anyone expected.
Very good, Ben. That's a good one.
Other than that weird hit by pitch to lose the game on Monday night, he's been great.
That's when I threw my baseball.
You got to get Brock Burke.
Yes, there's another one.
Brock Burke, yeah.
He's solidifying himself as a leverage guy. They'd like to put him in a leverage situation. I think they're trying to figure out what they want to do with Brock Burke.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so valuable. We've talked to Brock. Jeff and I did. He really loves the bullpen. He loves that role. But I mean, I can see where the Rangers are looking at that guy that was a starter and where he's completely healthy now. And they're like, maybe we could stretch him out. I mean, he's going through the lineup twice pretty easily with the command. Confidence.
Yeah, it made it look easy.
Right.
He's another guy.
He's able to use his fastball, which the second and third time through the order, I don't think the Rangers are sure he can do right now without better secondary pitches. So that's probably an off-season project. I know people want to see it because of Taylor Hearn and Glenn Otto, but Hearn was a good reliever, not a very good starter. So do you want to go through that with Burke, or do you want to keep him where he is?
Yeah, because Burke has been impressive, like you said, but through short stints, not through longer outings. And he's done a lot of 2-inning outings because he used to be a starter. But yeah, he's been another really good one that has been surprising. All right, John, I'll put you on the spot with this one. Who surprised you he's been worse than you thought he would be?
Worse than I thought he would be?
Yeah, who has not lived up to expectations?
I can answer this question if you don't answer right.
I think Seager. I mean, Seager's the guy that we probably.
I wasn't going to go there.
He's got 15 home runs. I think we expect a little more Seager. His batting average has been where it is now. He does have 15 home runs. He's played good defense. I think I thought that his OPS and everything would be a little bit higher, and it still could be. Look, it's the first part. I mean, Simeon, while his start was horrid, has really come around to kind of where you thought he was right now. But Seager's really never gotten going like I kind of expect. What you saw when he was with the Dodgers. But I just think that's time. That's going to happen. So probably Seager, maybe. Taylor Hearn is another one.
There you go. That's where I was going to go.
And he didn't perform like I thought he was. Left Taylor, and I think he's got it. I think he's got stuff. He just hasn't harnessed it yet.
Yeah, it's with Taylor. It's the stuff is there, but he's not. He just can't make it work in the first couple innings.
Nope.
So that's where it gets him. His sister's probably going to kick my ass for saying that, but yeah, Taylor Hearn's been the biggest disappointment this season.
All right, Alex, who do you have as your biggest disappointing player so far in 2022?
I think, unfortunately, I have to jump on the Taylor Hearn side of it, especially getting the home opener.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that.
You can always count on me.
All right, Kane, who you got?
I'm gonna jump on with y'all. It's definitely Taylor Hearn. I mean, you're looking at somebody that I think a lot of people, from what I've was seeing like on Rangers Twitter and stuff like that, a lot of people thought he was gonna be like your legit number.
I was one of them. One of them.
But I mean, if I had to throw out somebody else that y'all didn't say, I guess as of late, kind of maybe Joe Barlow as a little bit of late.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay.
All right, Jeff, who do you think has been the most disappointing the first half of the season?
I'd probably say Mitch Garver, although I don't think it's all his fault because he's hurt and he's playing hurt. And, but when you trade somebody like Kiner Falefa, you expect and need the guy you get to be more productive than he's been. I know he's hit some home runs on this road trip, and it looks like he's getting his swing in the right place. But I mean, I think that he's only got about another 10 days before he shuts her down for the
surgery.
I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that for sure, but so maybe he's not disappointing, but the circumstances might be what's very disappointing. But then the flip side is that Jonah Heim's had a chance to play and develop a little bit more.
So, okay, that brings up a great question that I'm going to ask to you, Jeff. So going forward, I think Jonah Heim is your starting catcher, period. He's proven that he can be consistent and he can throw runners out. So give me your thoughts on that, on Jonah Heim.
Well, if you look at the pitch framing's good. I still think too many balls get past him. Like the other day in John Gray's start, the wild pitch that turned into a double. There's no way that ball should have gotten by him, and it did, and that seems to happen a lot. You look at the home runs, that's good. He's still batting 255. It's not like he's hitting 310. OPS.
Well, if you look at the WAR, I mean, and I don't take much grant in that, but at the WAR, he's one of the top. He's number 2 actually in WAR.
Okay, that's great, but I mean, a lot of that is based on defensive metrics, and you don't, the Rangers acquired Mitch Garver because they needed offense at that position, and Heim's doing fine. He really is. When your OPS is above 750, you're an above average player. And I think, with the way pitching's dominated this year, it might even be, if you're grading on a curve, it might be a little bit higher. He needs to do it for a whole year. He's got a chance to wear down and get exposed. We got to see what the numbers are like at the end of the year.
Is he an all-star this year?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
So I mean, he might make the team, but it's going to come down to the player vote, and I don't think enough players know who he is.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I would lean toward him not being an all-star.
Okay.
And then I don't know. We got to see what the second half looks like. I mean, I'm a big Sam Huff guy. I think that Sam Huff has the chance to be, if he hits his ceiling, he has a chance to be a Salvador Perez type offensively.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one.
And
totally
so what do you do? Is Garver a candidate to be non-tendered? I mean, do you want to throw your weight behind Sam Huff?
That's a question me and Ben had when they acquired him. Same question. Yep.
So if it's just, I don't know that Sam Huff benefits a lot from being in AAA for another year.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question to you guys, and I guess I'll start with Alex on this one. We have the trade deadline coming up in less than a month. What in the world do the Rangers need to do? Are they buyers, sellers, or a little of both?
I would say they're a little bit of both. I think with the extra wild card, you evaluate where you are and you think about what you want to do in 2023. If you want to make some quirky moves here and there, but I think if you're standing where you are right now, I think you only sell your guys if you get something in value of return as far as a rental goes.
So Alex, I'm one of those that's both sell and buy. Like 2015 when we got Cole Hamels. Yeah, that's where I'm kind of looking at. John, what do you think?
I mean, look, they might even stand pat. I don't know. I mean, look, who do they have to sell? I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. I mean, the most value maybe in someone like Cole Calhoun if they move that, but I wouldn't move him. They need him, and he's got
Martin Perez. Yeah.
Well, you got Perez, but I think they'd like to bring Perez back. I think that's at least an option. They might even. There's been talk that maybe they want to extend him. So on the selling side, I guess they got some pieces that could be of value, but you're not going to give Perez away, even though he is a rental. You're not going to give him away. And if you do sell Perez, then you've got to have somebody back in that deal that's at least big league ready to maybe be in the rotation, because we don't have none of the young pitchers are ready to step up and take those two open spots that are sitting there waiting to be taken that no one's doing. On the buyer side, Jeff and I have talked about this a lot. I mean, it's going to be they're not going to rent anybody this year. It would be a long-term thing, kind of like the Cole Hamels thing. So, I mean, I could see them going each way, but if it wouldn't surprise me at all if they stood pat and maybe moved a couple of veterans out just through, and brought up some kids for the second half if they didn't do a lot. So I don't know. I mean, it could be either, but we'll see.
All right, Kane, what do you think? Buyers or sellers?
I don't know. I kind of am in between / on the side where I think they might just kind of stand still a little bit. Like going off of John's point is like they don't really have a ton of people to sell. I mean, I don't think you sell Perez at this point. But I mean too, like there's the extra wild card spot. So I mean that opens up, a place, but they're not renting anybody. Like the rentals are off the table.
No, yeah.
And I don't also see them like pushing in to get one of the big chips like Frankie Montas or Luis Castillo. I just don't think they're really going to want to give up. Like, I don't think you give up certain prospects in the middle of the rebuild that it's going to take to get those guys. So I think you're kind of in the middle / on the side where I would kind of just stand still.
All right, Jeff, what do you think?
Well, okay, they could trade Perez. I don't think they will. I would, Cole Calhoun, Garrett Richards, and Matt Moore. If you can get something for them, I think you do it. I don't necessarily think you'd get a lot, but these are guys who are on expiring contracts, and if you don't have any intention of bringing them back, then you can go get something. And then Richards is making more than Calhoun. So depending on the prospect the Rangers get back, they might have to eat some salary, but I think they should do that. I mean, they're not going to be in the playoffs, so they have an opportunity to get something. And I think that if they have a chance to get a guy who can be a future piece for 2 or 3 seasons after this one, they do it. I mean, you get prospects. One of the reasons you build a farm system is to trade them away. And the Rangers have a lot of depth, a lot of guys who are going to go who need to be protected from the Rule 5 draft, who they're not going to be able to protect. So, those are the kind of prospects that you can trade. And some of them are pretty. You just hit the nail on the head. Cause I'm Jeff, I'm thinking about Bubba Thompson. What do you think about him? And cause he's not on the Rule, or he's Rule 5 eligible. Yes. He's not protected. So what do you think about Bubba Thompson? Well, I like Bubba Thompson. I'd hate to see him go. I mean, me too. He's a pretty handy 4th outfielder. If you look at him right now, he's got 38 stolen bases. Leads all the baseball with stolen bases. Yep. This is a guy who can play all 3 outfield spots. And he's gotten so much better the last 2 years. So it kind of suggests that he's coachable and that he's, figuring things out. Not, if you don't protect him last year, you're going to protect him this year. I mean, he is a little closer. He's doing something at AAA. It's very hitter friendly there, but it's still better than it's been. So, I mean, I'd hate to see him go. But these are tough decisions. And I like Cole Reagans was Rule 5 eligible last year. They didn't protect him, but clearly they're going to do that this year. So they've got a pretty big group, and it'll be it wouldn't surprise me to see some of those guys, some guys we love, to go away. Yeah, it's just part of having a good farm system.
Yep, I agree. All right. Kane, I'll start with you on this one. We're just talking about prospects. Who do the Rangers need to call up next?
I got one. I don't know. I wouldn't say next on this guy, but I think one that is going to be really, really good that, maybe not too far in the future, Owen White.
I like it.
He's not coming up this year.
No,
yeah, it's not going to be this year.
No, he's not coming up this year, but I think, he's surprised me a lot. I think that's someone that's going to contribute.
He just jumped in the top 100 of MLB pop.
Yeah, I have that on the list to talk about here in a little bit, the new top 100. But first, John, who do you think? Who's next? Who gets called up?
I could see Huff coming back pretty quick if that happens with Garver and they don't do something to get a bat. Other than that, somebody to come up here that hasn't been up.
Zach Kent, man. Zach Kent.
I don't know. It's going to.
Maybe I'm hoping too hard there.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Cole Winn. I imagine Cole Winn will get a look here later. To get, because he's on you when he's not, but I mean. You got to also look at guys that are on the 40-man right now too.
Right. Yep. Right.
Before they, and clear it for them. I mean, I don't know. Probably Huff's the next guy that comes up from the minor leagues as far as who isn't a pitcher that's going up and down. Those guys that are riding the bus back and forth. Like right now, who they bring up today with they brought up Allard and sent down King. So, but not talking about anything like that. Probably Huff, if Garver's goes on the IL, might be up here to play a little more.
Tyler, what do you think?
No, I totally agree. I think you make some good points. I could see definitely Sam Huff being the next one up. We still don't know about his injuries, if he's going to decide before the All-Star break if he's going to do the surgery or not with Garver. So
should, but
yeah, I agree.
I agree as well. Okay, let's talk a little about the top 100. Jeff, I'll start with you. They've added, or the Rangers have 6 now on the top 100. Jack Leiter at 18, Josh Young at 32, Ezekiel Duran at 58, Justin Foscue at 63, Cole Winn moved down, number 82, and Owen White at 97. So talk a little bit about the Rangers' top 100 prospects.
Well, they're all worthy. They're all deserving. I'm a little surprised that Foskew's that high, although he's showing a pretty good hit tool here lately. So the power will come there. The draft is in 10 days, and they're going to get a seventh. I mean, the number 3 overall pick will be in the top 100, and that's just plain and simple. So, and Luis Angel Acuna should be nosing his way into there. That wouldn't surprise me at all. Evan Carter, Baseball America has him as their number 3 prospect. So, there are, and this isn't hyperbole or I'm not paid by the Rangers or anything like that. They have a legitimate chance. This is the truth, to have 8 to 10 top 100 caliber players.
I agree.
And that's just the way it is. I mean, you look at their talent, and and Josh Smith isn't one of them, and you would think that Josh Smith at this point would be a top 100 prospect based on what he's shown. I know he's slumped here lately, but that doesn't include Josh Smith. So it's got a chance to be the best farm system, honestly, in baseball here this offseason. So, because Josh Young is still there, he hasn't graduated. Looks like Wynn, Leiter will retain their rookie status. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that shakes out in December, January, and February when all those publications start coming out. But six might be light.
All right, John, what do you think about the top 100 list? Did they get everybody right?
Yeah. I mean, I guess so. Like Jeff said, there's a lot more that could be in there. Acuna's been really impressive.
Yeah.
Evan Carter been very impressive. Like Jeff said, I mean, I'm kind of echoing off what my partner said there. But going in, Foscue, Owen White, unfortunately, when they do the draft, like he said, you have the number 3 overall pick, and you're obviously going to put somebody that's going to jump back in there. It could probably going to bump Owen for what's in there right now, unless some other graduations happen. So you got to hit. I heard MLB Pipeline podcast. They were talking about their new list out, and they were saying that that when they reach the end of their rookie status, automatically, that's why Adley Rutschman was taken out and P graduated out of there. So there'll be some more that'll graduate out by the end of the season, and that'll open up spots. But I guess White's the one that, if he continues where he has, he could climb up a lot. And I just saw too that I see that Leiter's going to play in the futures game.
Yeah, I saw that too. I thought that was kind of, right now I know he's having the tired arm thing going on, but he's not hurt or anything. So it ought to be interesting. I think that's something that a few years ago, definitely they wouldn't have skipped a start because of that. All right, Alex, anyone else you think they left off of the top 100 list for the Rangers?
No, well, Evan Carter. I mean, I find it weird that Baseball America has him number 3 and he didn't even make the top 100 guys who are 4 and 5 that were on that list. So that was strange, but outside of that, not really.
Yeah, I agree. Kane, anyone you thought should be on the list?
Other than Carter, not really. But I think when we're talking about prospects, like someone said it earlier, is like, sure, the Rangers have all these top 100 prospects, and they have more that are also really good, really, really good prospects. But it's like, you got to figure out which guys you're going to keep and which guys you're going to, get rid of. And, the reality of it is they may not hit on all those decisions. Like there's probably going to be some guys that they trade away that end up having good careers, but it's, I would hate to have that job personally. That's tough. But.
Yeah, I would too, actually. So, okay, well, let's look forward. And someone tweeted, I think it was Bryce that tweeted to you the other day, John, or you answered it, that they probably won't get to 500 this year. Looking at the second half of the season, they're probably going to be trying out some more prospects, things like that. Do you think the Rangers reach that 500 mark this year, John?
No, I think they come close, but no. I mean, I mean, sure, it's possible, but a lot of things got to fall into place, and they've got to make a move that would, if they went and did something big at trade deadline for someone controllable, another big bat and arm, something like that, and without losing anything that's already in the lineup. Now, sure, I guess they could get to 500 and maybe over. When they went out and got Cole Hamels, they were 5 games below 500.
Yeah.
When they went out and made that deal, but I mean, people value their prospects so much more now. It's going to be awfully expensive to go out and get someone like Castillo or Maul, or I love Pablo Lopez. I'd probably have to farm to get that guy, but I don't think so. I think they're going to finish 75 to 78 games, and you should be very pleased with that.
Yeah,
and happy with that. And then going into the offseason, we know they're not afraid to spend money. I think they're going to be big players this offseason.
All right, so Jeff, what kind of do you want to see for the rest of the season? What kind of do you want to see the Rangers do to finish out 2022?
Well, they need to figure out if they have rotation pieces for next year in the system. So they do need to give Cole Winn a chance, I think, and he's pitching better. I still am okay with not Stephen Howard. That's the SID at Oklahoma State, with Spencer Howard, who I like, and you see the stuff, and I think some of it's between the ears with him.
What do you think about AJ Lexi and?
I mean, he's been terrible. I mean, there's just no real need to sugarcoat it. He hasn't pitched well, and I don't know what that is, but he's had issues. I don't know that Yuri Rodriguez is ever.
He did top 100 miles an hour the other day.
Okay, great, but he just hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
I understand he's got a big arm, super, but. And just considering the way John Daniels values relief pitchers, does this guy need a 40-man spot? Are you going to protect him, or are you going to protect?
Great point.
Cole Reagans,
great point.
But I want to. Can I mention something? I want to go back to John. What John said. I'll bet you, John Moore, a steak dinner that we will be 500 by the end of the year.
Oh, Tyler's. He broke his leg, and now he's wanting to bet John.
No, seriously, because I feel the team. I mean, like we've talked about at the very beginning of this, whole podcast. We're in every single game. It's one-run games. It's I think Kane made a good point. I think at the end of the year we'll finish like 82, 83 wins. 82. No, I'll go 81.
I don't mind taking that bet. I mean, look, if I lose, it means they've played far better than I thought they did.
Yeah.
I'd buy steak, and I'm always good for steak. But likely, I'm going to get a steak dinner. So there you go.
There you go, man.
All right.
All right. Speaking of, you guys mentioned him. He just got up to AAA a few weeks ago. You guys have had him on. We've had him on. Cole Reagans. Do you see him getting a cup of coffee at the majors this year or not? What do you think, Jeff?
He needs to keep pitching like he's pitching for probably at least another month, maybe a little longer. If you kind of go back in Rangers lore, Brock Burke got called up on August 20th of 2019. So, and he started the year at AA. So maybe that's the path Reagans is on. But again, if they're going to protect him, go ahead and add him to the 40-in season. It'd be a great story. We all know his background, and just a super kid, and you hope for the best for him after what he's been through.
Yeah. That was Tyler's first interview. It was Cole Reagans.
He's very humble, and Jeff, you made a good point. He's a humble kid, and especially batting the 2 Tommy Johns and going through what he's gone through, but just a very humble kid, and just goes out and works.
He does. Yeah. All right. Moving back to my question. I'll go back to Alex. Alex, what do you kind of expect or want to see from the Rangers for the second half of the season?
Consistency. That's the biggest issue with this team. Consistency. And look, it's going to be interesting out of the gate of the All-Star break, because you go on a West Coast trip where the A's are struggling. The Angels are a mess right now. You may be able to squeeze a 500 mark for maybe one day. That being said, that still counts.
Yep. That is correct.
That doesn't get you a steak, though.
That's Tyler thing. That's Tyler thing.
Alex, I think you're exactly right. I think I couldn't have answered it any better. I think it's one of those things. And Ben brought up a good point one day on the podcast. He was like, you basically come in with a division series. You look at it as a 500 mark. You're going to split the series. So hopefully we can get more of those, but more wins than losses.
Yeah. All right, so I'm with John. I think 75 wins or so is what they're going to finish the season with.
Ben, we agreed that 75 wins is was our benchmark.
Yep.
If you hit 75, great.
And to me, that's huge. I mean, because they won 60 last year. So 75 is a massive upturn from what they did last year. So they're definitely one thing I'll say, and I know everyone here agrees because I've heard all of you either say it or tweet it, but this is such a much more entertaining team to watch than it was in 2021 for sure.
Very much.
Absolutely.
It's very, very rare that they're out of a game.
Yeah, you are correct about that. All right, guys. I think that was about all we had for tonight. I really appreciate all y'all joining us.
Thank you, Ben.
Cool.
You're welcome, Ben. You're welcome, Ben.
Let's do it.
Thanks, CJ. All right, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, John. Thank you, Kane. Thank you, Tyler. And thank you, CJ, I guess.
I guess.
The chemo possum.
Oh, crap. All right. All right,
guys.
John. Damn it. All right.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Take care.
See you guys later.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.